Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Friday the 13th Part 8 Jason Takes Manhattan. Starring Jensen Daggers, Scott Reeves, Mark Rickman, Barbara Bringham, V.C. Dupree, Kane Hodder, Charlene Martin, and Roger Barnes, and directed by Rob Hedden. Now, I, like the previous ones, have seen this one before, and what do I think of it? Let's get into this movie. Some 80s music kicks in the opening, and we see New York as the city we all know as the city it is today, without the twin towers. Which is a depressing thing to say, but unfortunately it's true, and admittedly it is a beautiful city. Meanwhile, we go back to Crystal Lake on a boat, and a couple named Jimmy and Susie make out in the boat, and Jimmy tells the backstory of how Jason Voorhees drowned years ago and came back to kill, but they continue to make out as Jason awakes and the electricity goes off, and Jason comes on the boat, and Jimmy dressed up as Jason to scare the shit out of Susie, and Jason kills Jimmy as Susie escapes, and she gets killed by Jason with a hook. And this is the most ridiculous opening I've seen in the Friday the 13th movie histories. And the next day, we meet a graduate who's a genius at writing as well as Sean Robertson, who's the first time captain of the Lazarus on a cruise to New York. And we meet these boring, bland characters who I don't care for in this movie, and somehow Jason comes out on board and kills a rocker, which is on an off-screen death, but it shows Jason slicing the bitch up, but we don't see how she does, which was a problem for me, while the cameraman has no future and two friends smoking cocaine, and the main girl's, I'm guessing it is trying to find her dog Toby, and two smoking bitches who wants the main girlie to drown, which is a terrible plot device. And one of the two boxers is killed, and one of the two bitches pushes the main girl, Rennie. I think her name is in Rennie. I think is her name that's in the water on purpose, as she can't swim, which is pretentious, and the main bitch seduces Rennie's father as she blackmails him, while Wayne, the cameraman, records the whole tape and continues to blackmail him, and I hope she fucking dies at this point. Jason finds her and kills her, and that was a cheering moment for me because good fucking riddance. She was painful to deal with. We're 40 minutes into this movie, and people are getting killed, but now not in Manhattan, which makes me think the title kind of bugs me until we get to Manhattan. Eva, who was friends with the head bitch, encounters Jason, and she hides in the dance room and gets choked to death, by Jason. Meanwhile, some rampagers led by Julius, who grabs a gun, and Wayne looks for the rocker and loses his glasses and shoots one of the rampagers with a gun, and can't see or hide from Jason as he's fried. And that death was pretty cool, admittedly. I'll give the movie that. Rennie's father is an absolute prick to everyone, including his own daughter, as the ship gets on fire somehow, and one of the rampagers dies from being thrown to the ground on the boat by Jason, as Julius gets thrown off board. Meanwhile, Rennie sees a little boy, which I'm led to believe is Jason as a kid, and Jason checks Rennie until she stabs him in the eye, and the father tries to find Jason, and I'm still not getting why this movie is called Jason Takes Manhattan, as it makes no sense. Rennie's father and teacher go off the cruise and leaves everyone else to die, but Julius makes it alive and gets on the boat while the storm is still going, and I realize Toby the dog is on board. The canoe is They do eventually arrive in New York City as Jason also gets there, and finds them, and for some reason leaves everyone else alone, which I think is weird right out the bat. Jason stabs one of the two robbers, and the other is killed by Jason smashing his head on the pipe. And Rennie escapes. Julius tries to call the police, but Jason stops him as Julius fights like boxing, and Jason kills humbly, taking his head off with one punch, which was kind of funny, but the sequence was weird. As they get the police involved, Jason kills one of the officers, and Rennie tries to run Jason over, and we get a flashback, which makes no damn sense, of Rennie and her father having a conversation about swimming lessons, and he pushes her in the water as she can't swim as she drowns, and Rennie's father gets killed by Jason, drowning him in some sewage water. And that was another good riddance cheering moment because that guy was an asshole to begin with. Jason finds Rennie and Sean, and they run to the subway station, and he catches up, and they escape and fry Jason to death. They get to Times Square, which is the most beautiful part of Manhattan, in my opinion, anyways. Jason finds them again and picks a fight with some punks and shows off his face and scares them away, which was tedious. Then they run to the sewers as Jason follows, and they bump into a construction man who warns them about toxic waste at midnight, as Rennie throws the toxic waste of Jason and at Jason, and the toxic water drowns Jason once again, while Rennie and Sean are safe, and Jason shrinks as a little boy, and as a climax, it made no sense. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 4.0 out of 10. I'll never get why this movie is called Jason Takes Manhattan, which that doesn't come up till like an hour into the movie. Once again, these characters are boring, and when Jason tries to kill them and leaves everyone else alone, that was weird. It is in part 6 entertaining, but it's not the other movies bad, but it's still a bad movie. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. And until next time,